After years of being the family disappointment, I turned my life around, found the love of my life, and just got married without my parents there. And despite the heartbreak, I finally felt like I chose peace over pleasing everyone. 28, haven't always been the man I am today. A few years ago, I was a mess, emotionally, mentally, and behaviorally. I used to drink heavily, make reckless decisions, and most shamefully, I cheated multiple times on my ex, 27, during our 3-year relationship. I look back on that version of myself with a lot of disgust and remorse. I still can't quite understand how she stuck around for as long as she did. She didn't deserve any of what I put her through. Eventually, the truth came out, again, and she broke up with me. I don't blame her. Honestly, she should have left much sooner. Around that same time, my family also decided to distance themselves from me. I was spiraling, and losing both her and the support of my loved ones at the same time was a wake-up call I desperately needed. It was heartbreaking, but I can see now why it was necessary. After hitting rock bottom, I started therapy. Slowly, I pulled myself together. It took a lot of time, a lot of uncomfortable self-reflection, and some painful lessons, but I changed. I became someone I'm proud of today. Eventually, I was able to rebuild my relationship with my family and offered my ex a sincere apology for the pain I'd caused. We're civil now, and that's as much as I could ever ask for. What I didn't expect, though, was that my mother and my ex would continue to stay close. Apparently, they had built a bond during our relationship, and that connection didn't fade just because she and I broke up. My family, especially my mom, continued to invite her to gatherings and holidays. I didn't love it, but I also didn't care enough to make a scene about it. We didn't really talk, just exchanged the occasional polite nod. Fast forward to the present. I met someone new, a wonderful woman, 28F, and after a year of dating, we got engaged. She's everything I want in a partner, kind, understanding, and grounded. She knows about my past. I was upfront with her from the beginning, and she accepted that I've changed and grown. We've been planning a small, intimate wedding with only close friends and family, and I've been really looking forward to this next chapter in my life. Then the issue arose. My mother, who is still close with my ex, wants to invite her to the wedding. She insists that it's a family event and that my ex is still considered part of the family. My fiancé is understandably furious. She doesn't want my ex there. Neither do I. This is our day, the beginning of our life together, and the presence of someone I deeply hurt, someone who represents a version of me I've worked so hard to leave behind, feels totally inappropriate. To make matters worse, I called my ex to talk about it, and she told me she doesn't even want to be there either. She said she's only considering going because my mom keeps pushing. That part really pissed me off. My ex is uncomfortable. My fiancé is upset. I'm stuck in the middle, and the one person insisting on this is my mother. When I told my mom that we weren't inviting my ex and explained how much it was upsetting my fiancé, she doubled down and said that if my ex isn't invited, she might not come either. Now my fiancé and my mom have gotten into arguments about it. Tensions are high, and I'm sitting here feeling like history is repeating itself. I already lost my family once. I'm afraid that if I put my foot down now, which I really feel like I need to, I might get cut off again. But I also can't betray my partner. I promised to have her back, to protect her, to prioritize us. I won't let anyone ruin our wedding, not even my mother. The next day, things escalated more than I expected. My mother just wouldn't drop it. She kept insisting on inviting my ex to the wedding, and out of nowhere, she finally admitted something that made everything worse. She told me she doesn't like my fiancé. Not just has some issues or needs time. She doesn't like her. That hit me hard because up until this point, I kept hoping that deep down, she'd eventually come around. But now, it's obvious she never really gave my fiancé a fair chance. When my fiancé heard what my mother said, she lost it. She yelled, and honestly, I didn't stop her. I don't blame her one bit. She's been patient long enough, and this situation has been dragged out for far too long. After the confrontation, my mother declared she wouldn't be attending the wedding at all. At that point, something in me just snapped into clarity. I was done trying to make everyone happy. So I sent out a message to all our invited wedding guests. I laid out the truth, that my mother was trying to invite my ex to our wedding, despite how inappropriate and disrespectful that was, and that she was now refusing to come because we stood our ground. I wasn't asking for sides, but I wanted transparency. The support we received was overwhelming. Most people were entirely on our side. They said we were right to set boundaries and that they couldn't believe my mom was pushing this so far. As for the few who responded by calling me ungrateful or disrespectful, well, I took the liberty of removing them from the guest list and blocking them. I'm not allowing any toxicity to stain what should be a joyful, sacred day. My brother, 34M, called me later that evening. I hadn't spoken to him much throughout all this, and honestly, I was nervous about where he stood. But he told me point blank, "You did the right thing. I'm proud of you." That was a huge relief. I needed that voice of reason from someone who knows our family dynamics well. Later that night, my ex actually called me. I didn't want to take the call alone, so I asked my fiancée if she'd sit with me and put it on speaker. To our surprise, she apologized. Genuinely. She told us she had already said no to my mom, repeatedly, and didn't know how to make her stop. She reassured us that she had no intention of showing up and that she respected our boundaries. We appreciated the honesty, and I told her that while there were no hard feelings, of course, she wasn't invited. She said she understood. Now my father is refusing to come to the wedding too, because my mother won't be there. Honestly, I'm not even angry at him. I get it. That's his wife, and he's choosing to stand beside her, even if I think she's entirely in the wrong. It hurts, but I expected this the moment my mom took things that far. So now, the wedding itself will be small. 50 people. Only those who genuinely love and support us. It's not the size we originally planned, but I think it will be better this way. Intimate, peaceful, real. The bigger issue now is the reception, which is still scheduled as a larger event with around 150 guests. My father is actually the one hosting it on our behalf, and since my mother will definitely be attending that, I'm preparing myself for potential drama. At this point, I'm not even sure I want to go through with the big reception. The idea of celebrating with a bunch of people who are lukewarm or ambivalent about my fiancé, or worse, siding with my mom, makes my stomach turn. 3 days later, things finally started settling into a kind of peace, even if it was a bittersweet one. I sat down with my fiancé and my future father-in-law to talk through the chaos of the past week, the guest list, the reception, and more importantly, what we wanted moving forward. We had originally planned for my father to host the large reception, but obviously, that wasn't happening anymore. To my surprise, and honestly, it floored me, my fiancé's dad told me not to worry about a thing. He said, "We'll take care of the reception. I've got it." I protested, of course. I told him I couldn't let him shoulder that burden, that it wasn't fair, and that I was more than willing to contribute. But he just looked at me, shook his head, and said, "You're like a son to me. I wouldn't have it any other way." That moment hit me hard. I didn't even try to hold back. I just teared up, right there in front of him. After everything with my own parents, it meant the world to hear that from him. In a way, he gave me something I didn't even realize I'd been grieving. Acceptance. Family. Apparently, though, not everyone shared that sentiment. My father somehow found out that my fiancé's dad was stepping in to pay for the reception, and it led to an explosive phone call between the two of them. They had a full-blown shouting match. I wasn't on the call, but my FIL told me afterward that my father accused him of undermining him, called me ungrateful, and accused my fiancé of turning me against my family. Ridiculous, hurtful stuff. So, as of now, both my father and my mother have officially said they won't be attending the reception either. My wedding will be small, and our reception, once a symbol of shared celebration between families, will now be something entirely different. Ours. Chosen. Built around love, not obligation. My fiancé is genuinely relieved, and I am too, honestly. With them not attending, there's a huge weight lifted. We don't have to brace for any dramatic speeches, silent judgments, or cold shoulders. We can just celebrate. We've decided to hire a couple of security people for the event, just in case. It's probably overkill, but we both agree that peace of mind is worth the expense. Still, I know some guests are going to have questions. There will be gossip, and people will ask why my parents aren't there. Some will probably drop out altogether. I haven't spoken to my mother or father since the fallout, and I probably won't until everything is over. Last night, I broke down. Really broke down. It was late. We were doing final touches on the seating chart, and suddenly the reality hit me like a ton of bricks. My mom and dad aren't going to be at my wedding. And no matter how justified everything feels, that's still a painful sentence to say out loud. I cried like a baby. I'm not ashamed to admit it. But my fiancé, God, this woman, she just held me. No judgment. No, I told you so. She just listened, kissed my forehead, and said, "It's okay to grieve what you wish had been." And that was exactly what I needed to hear. I didn't need someone to fix it. I just needed someone to understand. She's probably the most amazing person I've ever known, and I honestly cannot wait to spend the rest of my life with her. And then, just to round out an already emotional day, I got the results of my PhD exam, and I failed.
Yeah.
That came in like a gut punch. For a few hours, it was just insult to injury. But eventually, I found some peace with it too. I'll try again later. Right now, I've got bigger things to focus on. I'm about to marry the love of my life. That's enough. Going forward, I think I'll be going low contact with my father. Maybe, someday, we'll rebuild something. But with my mother? I think I'm done. At least for now. I've tried. I've bent. I've apologized and given second chances. I don't have anything left to give there. 11 days later, I got married. I'm still trying to process those words. I got married. It still feels surreal in the best way possible. It was, without a doubt, the happiest day of my life. Everything felt like a dream. The ceremony was beautiful, heartfelt, and deeply personal. Seeing my fiancé, now my wife, walking down the aisle, looking radiant and emotional, made me feel like the luckiest man alive. I couldn't stop smiling. I still can't. She's everything I never knew I needed, and yesterday just confirmed what I already believed. I want to spend every single day of my life with her. But it wasn't without its hard parts. That empty space where my parents should have been, it stung. I really thought they wouldn't take it this far. I kept hoping, maybe foolishly, that my dad would show up at the last minute, or that my mom would at least send a message or something.
But no.
They weren't at the wedding. And they didn't come to the reception either. Not a word. Not a call. That absence hurt in a way I didn't expect. After the reception ended, after the laughter and dancing and toasts, after the adrenaline faded, I broke down. I cried.
Hard.
I couldn't hold it in anymore. But like she always does, my wife held me. She didn't try to fix it, didn't tell me to stop. She just let me feel it. I can't express how much that meant. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I truly couldn't have asked for a better partner.
She's my home now.
Interestingly, my ex sent a message the day after the wedding. Just a simple, congratulations. I replied with a polite thank you. It was civil, respectful, and honestly appreciated. There's no lingering emotion there. Not from either of us, I think. Just a mutual understanding of the past and a silent acknowledgement that life has moved on. I still haven't spoken to my parents. Though, yesterday I noticed a package on our doorstep, a wedding gift from my father. It was an air fryer. Just a standard kitchen appliance. No note, no card.
Just the gift.
I'll admit, it was a strange gesture, but I suppose it's his way of extending a small olive branch. And hey, it's practical, we'll definitely use it. Doesn't erase the hurt, but it's something. As for the reception, it was incredible. Honestly, everything came together perfectly. The food, the music, the people. It felt like a celebration of not just our love, but of growth, healing, and the people who chose to support us. Huge thanks to everyone who encouraged me along the way, who told me to stand my ground, and reminded me I deserved to be happy. Your words meant more than you know. There was a time in my life when I didn't think I deserved this, any of it. Not love, not happiness, not a second chance. I was selfish, reckless, and hurt people who didn't deserve it. And for a long time, I let that version of myself define me. But somewhere along the line, I realized I couldn't stay trapped in that version of the past. I needed to own it, learn from it, and then start becoming the person I wanted to be. If you're reading this and you've done things you regret, please hear this. Your past doesn't have to dictate your future. You can change. You can grow. It doesn't erase what you did, and it doesn't mean everyone will forgive you. But you can become better. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you'll find people who see that in you and walk beside you as you do it. I married the love of my life yesterday. And I'm not who I used to be. That's enough for me to believe in redemption.